book lovers, my name is Natalie. I love books, so let's talk about them. Alright, so the first book on my list, which I've actually already finished and I need to make a reading week in review video for, is The Priory of the Orange Tree. Can you guys see that? The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, which is, before I read it, and I don't want to give up too much of what it's about because I have read it now, but before I read it, all I knew about it was that it had dragons in it, and I do love me some dragons. Doesn't everybody love some dragons? We all love dragons, don't we? Well, just in case you don't, you might not like this if it doesn't have dragons, but it's got dragons, magic, that kind of thing. You know, it's fantasy. It's definitely a fantasy book. So that's all I knew about it when I went into that one. So I have The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I have this copy of this book is so old. It is from 1984, I do believe. This is thinner. It says Richard Bachman, but it's actually Stephen King writing as Richard Bachman. Just in case you didn't know, I am a huge Stephen King fan. I've also read this one, but this one I knew more about. It's one of my favorite. I think it was originally a made-for-TV movie, but it's about a guy who gets cursed by a gypsy and just keeps getting thinner. You know, so I'll talk more about that in another video. Then I have, so that's 2. Number 3 was J.D. Robb, Glory and Death. I found this copy. I've read the first book. It's kind of like a suspense. It's kind of like a sci-fi romantic suspense type of thing, written by Nora Roberts, writing as J.D. Robb, again another pseudonym. I'm not super excited about this, but you know, I wanted to read more of it because it's one of my best friend's favorite series, and I made her read the Resilient Ice books, you know, and so I wanted to read more of these because I really do want to like it. I know a lot of people do, so I think maybe a little bit more of these will get me more into it. This I got last year around Christmas. It's got a sticker on it. Let's see if I can get the sticker off. I hate stickers on my books. Any which way, obviously it's a Target edition from Nora Roberts called First Snow. I did not know this when I picked it up, but I think it's 2 different books in this book. So it's A Will and a Way and Local Hero. So I got it. I'm not going to read you the synopsis off of it because you could easily find it on Goodreads and read the synopsis yourself. I got it because it was a Christmas book and I was really into that last year. I was having a hard time feeling the Christmas spirit, so I'm not really a seasonal reader. I hardly ever read any Christmas books, but I picked it up because it did seem like a Christmas book and I needed that last year. So now I have a bunch of Christmas books that I need to read. Yeah. So we have this one, First Snow by Nora Roberts. We have Wideacre by Phillipa Gregory. I'm not gonna lie, I picked this up because of the beautiful cover. I mean, look at that, guys. I don't know much about this other than she writes historical fiction. I read most of Lady of the Waters and it was good, but it wasn't like, I had to give it back to the library and it wasn't one of those. I still haven't picked it back up and I don't know if I will or not. I want to. But anyway, right now I have this one, Wideacre, and I've heard it's good. You know, why not try it? If I hate it, I don't have to, you know, DNFing is always an option if it's really bad. But I'm trying not to DNF any more books this year because I already did 11. I DNF'd 11 books. And what I do is when I DNF a book on my Goodreads goal, I count it, but then I add an extra book for that year. So I DNF'd 11 books. So my goal is 111 books to read, but actually it's 100, if that makes any sense to you. So I don't know. The next book is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, which, I mean, obviously I got it because all the hype. I mean, you know, and it sounded like something I would like. It sounded very similar to something I read when I was like in middle school. So, you know, this is about a guy. Honestly, I get so many of these books not knowing what they're about. So, it's a guy, I think he he is able to go into a virtual world, you know, where most of humanity spends their days. So he's able to go into a virtual world and play around and exist in there. So looked good. I wanted my daughter to read it too. Here's one that is on my oh, it's so shameful. The Sweet Far Thing. I read the first 2 books years and years and years and years ago. I mean, like years ago. Years. And then I never finished it because I loved the first 2 so much that I wasn't ready to let it go. I tend to do this with series where if I really love it, you know, I don't want to let it go. So I won't finish the last one in the series. And I do believe that there's another series that I've done that too, where I haven't gotten to the last book because I refused to let it go. But the problem with that is, you know, realizing that you've gotten older and you want to go back to the book and worrying that perhaps it's not as good as you remember it being because you were in a different time period of your life at that time. I mean, to be fair, I love her Diviner series. I'm so excited for the next one that's coming out. So I do love that. So there's no reason not to think that I won't love the Sweet Far Thing. It's just one of those things I get nervous about. Then, because of BookTube and because it was really, really cheap on Kindle at the time, I picked up Nevernight. This copy is from the library. The copy that I own is actually on the Kindle. It's the same thing with Thinner. I own that copy on my Kindle, but I like to get a copy from the library. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Again, I don't know much about it. I didn't need to, you know, based on the people that were suggesting this. I just kind of go with that. But it's by Jay Kristoff. Don't know much about it. I just started it. You can see my little bookmark here. I just started it. It's pretty good. You know, I mean, I'm, 30 pages in, so there's not much to say. Then I have books that I don't have physical copies for, and I have not gotten them from the library yet. So I already talked about Player One. Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which is, from what I understand, it is sci-fi. It is like hard sci-fi. It's about people who go to another planet and they find it's been terraformed, but something is lurking. So that sounded appealing to me. I'm really upset I can't get a physical copy of it, but my library like doesn't have it. So, but they have Children of Ruin. I don't understand that. But anyway, so let's move on. I already talked about that. I've also got a book called Exhume by Danielle Girard, which I got as, I think it was like one of those Kindle's first reads books. I have it. It still sounds interesting to me, so I do want to read it. I think it's kind of like a thriller mystery type of thing. So we have that. Then we have The Sacrifice of Sunshine Girl, which again is one of those books that's in this series. This is not a series where I just keep avoiding the last book because I love the first 2 so much. It's more just along the lines of the first 2 were okay. The first one I really liked. The second one was okay. But I do like to finish up series. So, you know, when I bought this, I think back when it was cheap. I know that. I love a good deal. So it's about a girl. She finds out that she's not exactly human and that she can do things with spirits. I don't remember exactly what. It's been a while. So, you know, it's a YA book, that's for sure. The Unleashing, and I should probably have said what genre these books were. I'll remember that for next time. The Unleashing, which is, I'm pretty sure that one is well, I know that one's romance because I picked it up because it was romance, or because it was said to be romance. By Shelly, Laurenston. All I know about this one is, and I do believe it's part of the blurb on the back, is that a woman dies and she becomes part of this Viking group called the Crows, and that was super appealing to me. You know, a while back ago, when I say a while back ago, like 10, 20 years ago, 10, 20 years ago, there was a lot about like with Roman mythology. I mean, remember Percy Jackson. There was a lot with Greek mythology and Roman mythology, and not a lot with Norse mythology, and this kind of pulls from that. And that's really interesting to me. Then I have A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn, which I heard about in a romance podcast, but I believe that it is like mystery. I'm pretty sure it's mystery. I shelved it as mystery, so I'm pretty sure it's mystery. All I know is that it's like mystery taking place in the 1800s. That's all I know. Then we have True Places by Sonja Yoerg. Oh boy, I hope I said that right. I know nothing about this book. I do believe that it was one of those Kindle First Reads books, and it was the one that looked most appealing to me. It just, you know, it sounded interesting to me. I think it was like, I think I shelved it as contemporary, so I don't know what kind, you know, if it's meant to be a thriller or anything. It just sounded interesting to me. I picked up After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I still really haven't read anything by her, even though I have the audiobook copy of Daisy Jones and the Six. And I know that everyone's like, oh, you gotta read, you know, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Yeah, that's the one. I mix it up with the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle a lot, because it used to be The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and then they changed it, probably because Taylor Jenkins Reid book came out and was confusing. But I want to read that book, but it wasn't the one that was on sale, to be honest with you. So, and this one sounded really interesting. From what I remember, it's about a couple that they're not sure that they love each other, so they take a year apart and see where they're at after that. So that was interesting to me. And then lastly, I have what I term as steampunk, and that is The Mortal Engines by Phillipa. And all I know about this one is that there are cities and they move around, like Howl's Moving Castle, kind of moving around. And that sounds interesting to me. So that is my TBR for November. All of those are books that I own in one form or another, either on my Kindle, and I'm partnering that with a physical library copy, or physical copy that I own myself. So that's it. So that's it for my TBR. Again, I hate ending a video because I'm never sure how it goes. I also hope that these didn't all go backwards, because when I look at it, I see it backwards, and now I'm wondering if I should turn it around. But I like to be able to see myself to make sure I'm in the middle. So if not, I will have put a picture so you can see it front ways somewhere around here. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate it. And bye.